The good thing about Skype, Khadija, is that we can record the classes and you can listen back to them, listen back to the recording. So
Oh,
as we end the recording, the recording is automatically uploaded to the chat box. So make sure to that you can download the recording, okay, and or you can simply play it from your laptop or from your cell phone.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you usually see numbers, right? Like 80%, 75, 70, and so on. So decide which of these expressions do you want to use. And how do you classify, for instance, 40%, 35%, 30%? So here are suggested expressions. Okay, 15%, less than a fifth, 10%. How about if you have 1%, 2%, 3%? So you can simply say insignificant numbers, okay, or negligible numbers, or less than a tenth. Okay, so it's up to you how you will do that. All right, so here are some sample sentences. So instead of saying, what is 4/5? A fifth is 20%, right? Right. So a fifth is 20%. So 4/5 is 80%. Okay, so instead of saying around 80%, you can say around 4/5 of university students stated that the library was the best place for their research. Okay, 1/4 is 25%. So you can say coal accounted for 1/4 of what? Of fossil fuels used as an energy source. Okay. 1 in 10 is 10%. So you can say 1 in 10 people reported that they went to fast food restaurants at least once a month, and so on and so forth. So I want you to study paraphrasing percentages. Okay. If you can memorize them, please do so.
Okay.
All right. Another important lesson for task one that you need to know about would be approximation and proportion. So here is how you approximate. So say just under, just over, slightly less, slightly more. You can say more than 2/5. Okay, around, the use of around. You can also say a large number of, a small number of, a large proportion of, a small proportion of, a significant proportion of, an insignificant proportion of, a small minority, a big minority. No, you can say a big minority. Small minority. Okay. A small number, a small amount of. When do you say amount? When do you say number? Anybody knows?
Number, I think, can be used when you are talking about, let's say, people, uh, as in, for example, uh, about 80%, or no, let me restart. About 80 people
Mm-hmm.
part partook in that exam, and then
Okay.
for amount, I think it's when you are quoting units of money, or um
That's you're correct. You're
okay.
correct. But in general, in English, okay, or in grammar, we say number for count nouns. So we can count people, right? We can
Exactly.
count, or yes, count nouns that we can count individually. Money, we usually say amount for money because it's considered a mass noun. But if we're talking about individual bills, for instance, so we can say number of bills. Okay, but if we're talking about amount of money, then we say amount. All right. How about food? Food falls under mass nouns. So we don't say a number of food, we say amount of food.
Yes.
Okay, how about houses, for instance, accommodation? So we don't say amount of accommodation, we say number of accommodation. All right? So things like that. Remember count noun and mass nouns. All right. Um, Vehicles are count nouns. Okay.
Yes.
What else? Population. Uh, do we say an amount of population or a
Number.
number of? Okay. But of course, you have to choose. For population, we usually say proportion of. Okay. A large proportion of the population. Okay. And so on. So here are more sample sentences. Approximately half of all vehicles produced in Japan were exported. A large proportion of the population of Italy is under 65 years old. This figure increased but then dropped to slightly less than a quarter. Okay, when we say figure, we're talking about the number. All right. The graph
Yes.
shows an insignificant amount of software. Software, we don't say number of software. Well, it depends. Software downloaded. Okay, we can say number of software downloaded programs. Okay, but if the noun we are referring to is software, then we say amount of software. So basically, this also tests your understanding of grammar, nouns in English, right? Count nouns versus mass nouns, or count noun versus uncountable nouns.
Okay.
Okay. Around a fifth of passengers there. A large number of tourists, so we don't say amount of tourists. Okay, because I see a lot of these errors in my students' writings. Okay, here are exercises that I want you to work on. Let's try this. Hold on. Okay, try this. So practice number one. Try this exercise below using the statistics in brackets to help you. Then check your answers. More than one answer is possible. So for each of the number, there is a percentage in brackets at the end of each. Let's try number one. So 75%. According to the chart, 75% of imports came from China in 2014. How can we paraphrase 75%?
Okay.
Three quarters.
Remember, 25% is a quarter. So we can say what?
Three quarters.
Three
Three
quarters.
quarters of imports. Any other answers for this?
Um.
How about if I say, uh, if I want
A
to use
significant,
number of imports, what can I say? Is it
a
a small number?
significant number.
All right, we can say a significant number of imports. What else aside from significant?
A large number.
Very good. Okay, let's try number two. 80%. Tourists accounted for 80% of total visitors to the Tate Gallery in 2016. What can we say here?
A significant proportion of around 80%.
A significant number of total visitors?
Four fifth.
4/5. Okay, because a fifth is 20%. So multiply by 4, that's 80%, so 4/5. Correct. What else?
A large number.
A large number, okay, of total visitors. All right, let's try number three. So number three is 50%. Production of TVs dropped by 50% in the period between 2012 and 2015. What can we say here?
Half. A half.
Production of TVs halved. Okay, that's correct. Halved with an ed in the period. Anything else?
Okay.
How about if I want to say half? Production of TV. So you can say dropped by.
50%.
So that is dropped by.
Okay.
Paraphrase. Dropped by.
Okay.
Dropped by.
Drop by 50%.
Yes, but paraphrase. Dropped by.
A
Reduced
how?
to
Dropped by
half.
half. Okay, all right. Don't forget that. Mobile calls showed a gradual rise of 23% from 2000 to 2001.
Slightly less than a quarter
Yeah.
You have to fill in the blanks.
uh,
Mobile calls showed a gradual rise of
of slightly less than a quarter from 2000 to 2001.
slightly a quarter, slightly less than a quarter, rise of slightly. Okay. Any other answers?
A
I think
rise.
that's the best answer, right? 23%. How about if I want to say
Just
fifth?
over a fifth.
All right, just over a fifth. Very good. Okay. Number five. 70% of around 70% of the population in Japan is expected to be over 60 years old in 2029.
Okay, so I would say a large proportion, a large number of the population in Japan is expected to be over 60 years old in 2029.
A large number, okay. All right,
7 out of 10
very
of the
good.
population.
All right, 7 out of 10. Okay. But the thing is with task one, you need to be accurate. Okay, so which is more accurate? To say a large number or around three quarters or 7 out of 10? Which is the most accurate of the three options?
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10 is the most accurate. Okay, so try to choose, of course, try to choose your paraphrases as well. Okay, great.
Okay.
Let's try practice number two. Below are two pie charts with percentages. Paraphrase the sentences using fractions or the language of proportion. All right, let's take a look at the two. Um, I hope you can see them.
Yes.
Reasons for cycling to work. So, and then reasons for driving to work. So for cycling, we have this. Health and fitness is 30% here. Less pollution is 30%. No parking, 15%. No cost, 13%. Faster than driving is 12%. So these are reasons for cycling. And then reasons for driving is so for comfort is 40%. For distance to work is 21%. Faster than cycling is 14%. Need to carry things to work is 14%. Safer than cycling is 11%. Let me try to send this um, to your chat box. I'll send it to the chat box so we can maximize. Oops. Sending this to the chat box. You can look at your chat box at the same time. Look at my screen. You can do that. Okay. Are you able to see the sentences?
Yes.
All right. So we will paraphrase the numbers in the following sentences. For example, number one, 40% of people stated that comfort was a factor in driving to work. Paraphrase 40%.
Okay. Just about two-fifths of people stated that comfort was a factor in driving to work.
What
Uh,
did you say? Two.
just
It's
over.
2/5. It's
Just
not
over.
just. It's exactly 40%.
It's exactly 2/5. Okay, because 20% is 1/5. All right, let's try. Is there any other answer for number one? So try to be as accurate as you can. Let's try number two. The proportion of people stating that they cycle to work to reduce pollution stood at 30%. So what's 30%?
Okay.
It's just under a third.
That's right. Because what is third? What is a third? How many percent is a third?
30.
Is it 30? Are you sure?
No, 35.
Okay.
35? Are you sure?
Thirty-three.
Actually, 33%. So you forgot your
Yeah, yeah,
mathematics,
yeah.
huh? In math, it's actually 33.333333. So it's unlimited 3. So we say 33%. So 35 is just over a third.
Mhm.
And 34 is just over a third. 32 is just under a third. So 32, 31, 30, they are just under a third. Okay? How about 29? How would you say that?
29.
Or 28 or 27?
Just over a fifth.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What if I want to say a third? Do I say just under a third?
Mm, for yes, I think so.
Actually, we can say far less than a third. It's not here. It's in another lesson, but
Okay.
remember that far less.
Okay.
Okay.
Far
All
less
right.
than. Is it done?
Right. Yes. Far less than a third. Okay. Let's try number three. 11% of people said that driving to work was safer than cycling.
Eleven
To be
percent.
less, uh,
What is
almost
10%?
A small number.
Okay. What is more specific than small number?
A small minority.
It's the same.
Insignificant number. No.
Mm-hmm. So we can say a tenth, right?
Okay.
A
Yes.
tenth. So what's 11%?
Just a little above a tenth. Just a little over a tenth.
Over.
Okay, a little over a tenth of people. Okay, how about number four? 15%. 15% of people stated that they cycled to work because they did not have to worry about parking.
The same.
Just
Just
under
a
a tenth.
little over.
Uh, all right, so it's the same. All right, 14% is the same. But what I want you to learn is how the sentences are constructed. So you can say just over a tenth of people stated that they cycled to work because they did not have to worry about parking. Where is that? Because they did not have to worry about parking. Remember in task one, you cannot give opinions. It has to be based on facts or on the picture. So let's go to cycle to work. Cycle to work. Okay, no parking problems here. The green, a pie. So no parking problems. So just over a tenth, or yeah, uh, stated that they cycled to work because they did not have to worry about parking. And that is this one, no parking problems. Okay? So paraphrase, right? How do you understand the bullets here or the legend? We call them legends. Okay, like what does blue mean? What does yellow mean? What does green mean? And so on. Okay, how about number 14? Number five. Just over a tenth of those polled stated that the main factor for driving to work was to transport items. Where is that? Need
Uh,
to carry things to work, right? And take a look at the use of main factor. Those polled stated that the main factor, right? So if there are several, um, okay, main factor, you can say main factors, right? And these are um, suggested answers. Okay. For a practice one, 3/4, 4/5 have slightly less than a quarter, a large proportion of. For practice two, 2/5, just under a third, slightly more than 1 in 10 people. Okay, we said earlier at slightly more than a tenth, so that's also fine. 14%. And it says here, no need to change this one. All right. But if you can paraphrase, the better. All right. All
okay.
right. So is paraphrasing statistics clear to you?
Yes, it
Okay. Let's
is.
go to. So now you have a stronger knowledge on paraphrasing. We can now go to interpreting pie chart.
Right.
Okay, because you can't interpret a pie chart if you don't know how to paraphrase the numbers that you see. Okay. So I've actually um, compile different lessons from different resources. So some of the lessons here are coming from websites. I only go to trusted websites because there are a lot of websites nowadays on IELTS and not all of them are accurate. And different experts or claim to be experts, they also have different opinions on IELTS and OET, all right? Not just IELTS. But these are tried and tested knowledge and information about IELTS. I've been using these for a long time. So let's discuss them. How to write IELTS pie chart for task 1. First of all, You have to choose the most important points to write about first. Okay, write in order of importance. Some of my students begin with the minor information. That's not right. IELTS wants you to highlight the most important points. Okay, that's why there's what we call an overview. In overviews, in task one, you usually place them in right after the paraphrase of the task. Okay, that is where you write the main trends or the main points of picture. Number two, make it easy to read. So if it's difficult for the examiner to understand what you're trying to say, most likely you're not going to get a good score. Um, Band 7, that's what we're aiming for. Band 7 is easy to understand. Okay? So when you write a task 1, you should always group information in a logical way to make it easy to follow and read. Okay? With an IELTS pie chart, the most logical thing to do is usually to compare categories. For example, here, so we have different categories, right? Okay, so which one is higher, for instance, in one pie chart, which is less than the other? As you can see here, yellow is the most significant. When you say most or more, less or fewer, you are comparing, you are making comparison. So remember how to compare. In English, we use comparative descriptors or superlatives, especially for adjectives. Okay, we use more when we are comparing two things. We use most when we are comparing more than two things. Next, you are supposed to vary your language. So you're not supposed to copy uh, same exact words in a chunk. All right, and uh, in Google Drive we have a lesson on paraphrasing, and we have 4 methods on how to paraphrase. So please study that lesson. So common phrases to see for pie charts would be the proportion of, the percentage of. It's quite easy to know what to use because when you see in pie charts, the numbers are in percentage, so you can use words like percentage, percent. Okay, and of course, when we're talking about pie charts, they are in portions, right? Like in a pizza pie. So they're in portions. Like for instance here, how many portions do you see in the first pie chart?
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 portions. Okay, but are each of the portions the same?
No.
Obviously, no. Okay, so that's what you compare. Which portion is bigger? Which portion is smaller? Which is significant? Which is insignificant? And so on. Okay, so going back, again, we have discussed this. Large number of, over a quarter, a small minority, a significant number, less than a fifth, and so on. Right? Approximations are also called qualifiers. So we have discussed this earlier. Just over, approximately, on, just under, nearly, almost. Some resources would call them hedging or hedging devices. Okay, just in case you encounter them later on. Okay, here the use of majority, proportion, minority, amount, a very large number, a very large majority, a significant proportion, a minority, a small, very small number. The words above are interchangeable, though number is for countable nouns, amount is for uncountable nouns. We discussed that earlier as well. All right, so we are now ready to practice. Let's apply them by the new learning. Okay, are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yes, all right. Read the following description of the pie chart given and underline all the expressions of measurement. So I want you to have a pen and paper with you.
Okay.
Did I see someone send something? I heard something. Okay, no. Write a description of the graph that follows using as many of these expressions as you can. So we're supposed to underline all expressions of measurement from this graph, or from this paragraph, sorry. So let's take a look at the picture first. Electricity generation in Australia by fuel 1996-97. So we are talking about how many years?
2 years.
2 years. Okay. How many types of fuel are there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And when you say electricity generation, how else can we paraphrase that? So we can say later on the pie chart show.
Mm,
We cannot say the pie chart show electricity generation. We can, but you're not gonna get a good score doing that.
yeah. Production of electricity.
Okay. The pie charts show the production of electricity in Australia
By
by
where?
fuel type. Or we can say the pie chart, the pie chart shows how electricity is generated. So simply using the same word, but I changed the word form. So generation is noun, generated is verb. You can do that.
Okay.
You get that? Okay, one more time. The pie chart show how electricity is generated in Australia by fuel type in 2 years. Then you can place open and close parenthesis 1996 to 1997. Right? And then analyze. So we have 59%, which is above, higher, above half, half. 26% is a little over a quarter. 5%, and
Count
that's
number.
a small proportion. Zero point 0.3 is insignificant. 10% is exactly a tenth. All right, so those are my paraphrases. Now let's read. Can you read this for me, Stella? Or
It,
for us?
it is clear from the pie chart that in 1996 to 1997, by far, the greatest proportion of electricity was generated by oil at 59%. Less than less than half as much, namely 26%, was produced from brown coal. Black coal and gas together accounted for another 15% of generation, leaving hydropower at only 0.3%. In other words, virtually 100% of electricity generation in Australia at the time came from fossil fuels, and only the insignificant amount of 0.3% came from a renewable energy source.
Okay. We are supposed to underline all expressions of measurement. So what expressions of measurement do we see here? Well, there's greatest proportion, right? Less than a half.
Mm,
Okay, anyway, what I want you to focus on would be the use of paraphrases like greatest proportion, and then you have to say proportion of what? Of electricity. Okay, and then the question usually is, Anna, I already said greatest proportion. Do I need to say again 59%?
Right.
So because my students are sometimes confused with that, I would say it's better that you put them together. Why? Because in academic writing, especially if you're interpreting a graph or a table, you need evidence. So it's not enough that you simply state greatest proportion. You need to support that with detail. So here the writer writes 59%. Okay?
Okay.
Another, less than a half. Okay, as less than half as much, sorry, less than half as much, namely 26%. So the paraphrase is less than half as much, and the supporting detail is 26%. Okay, and take note, the details are separated from the main sentence with commas, comma after oil, comma before and after, namely 26%. That is how you write it. Okay, another. Um, where is 0.3%? Okay, here. 0.3%, the paraphrase is insignificant amount, and then the detail is 0.03%. Okay?
Okay.
So put together paraphrase plus detail, supporting detail. Let's go. Any questions on how to interpret, how to write, what to do?
I'm okay.
None so far. All right. Here is a further exercise. Okay. I hope you can see it. Can you see it?
It's small, difficult to see.
It's difficult to see. Okay. So probably what you can do is you can print out the materials if you want, if you don't have a laptop to work on, to work with. Sorry, hold on. Okay, basically this is just an exercise wherein you identify from the body here. This is the body. Identify the errors, okay, and then try to replace the errors with the correct expression. So these are two pie charts, family A and family B. So the first pie chart is family A's monthly income. The second pie chart is family B's monthly income. Okay, let's analyze first. Let's take a look at family A. So as you can see, what do you do when you have something like this? Me, my personal strategy is to always arrange them in order from highest to lowest. I always do that. And then I cut the numbers into two or three groups. Let's see. It just helps me to visualize it when I do it like that. Ah, what happened? I closed it, sorry. Where is that? Pie charts. Okay, it might be difficult for you to read, but try to cope, all right?
Mhm.
Okay, so this is family A, and what I will do is to arrange them in order. So what's the highest? 32% mortgage, followed by 19%, which is food, followed by mortgage, food. If you can help me out, please do so.
Okay, followed
16%.
by entertainment.
Thank you. Entertainment, followed by 14% bills, followed by cars, 9%, and lastly, 2.
Food.
What do you mean by miscellaneous?
You didn't write clothes.
Surplus. Uh,
Clothes.
Miscellaneous is like others. Uh,
others.
yeah, like others that are not mentioned here. So do we have in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, clothes,
Mhm.
8%. So that's how I check. If I missed anything, I count. All right. So let's divide them. What are similar? Is 32% similar to 19?
No.
I wouldn't say so. So I'm going to cut it there. So in IELTS, use the magic three. Well, it's my own strategy. I call it the magic three. You cut them into 2 or 3 groups. That's basically it. So where else can I cut the numbers so that I have 3 groups?
Okay.
In other words, which numbers can I group together?
Mm, clothes, bills.
So if you ask me, Khadija, where will you cut it?
14.
14. Okay, there. So that's how you do it. And then after cutting, I'm going to assign them paraphrases. So for 32%, that is, remember, a third is 33%.
Yes.
So this is,
Just a little.
Just a
okay, I'm going to do it
little.
like that, just under a third.
And okay.
How about 19, 16, and 14?
19 will be
So, well, 19,
just under a fifth.
or we can say all, just
Around a
under,
fifth.
okay? But later on, I'm just brainstorming and taking down notes, and then later on, I might change my mind. I can do that, but what's important is that I am preparing the words that I want to use in the test in my writing task one later on. But I will do all these things just within 5 minutes. And you can do that when you have a pencil and paper right in front of you. You can write a lot faster. Okay, next. There. How about 9, 8, and 2%?
Mm, an insignificant.
Under a tenth.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Under a tenth for all of them. Okay. Is there anything worth noting? Maybe 2% is insignificant,
Mm,
right?
yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's plan. Let me just save this. Hold on. Save as. It's hard to teach online, guys. uh, I'm more used to teaching in the classroom. Okay, but I'm trying my best, and thank God for screen sharing.
Mm.
In the past, it was so difficult for me because I didn't know about screen sharing.
Mhm.
Some of the big companies they utilize technology that helps them to run virtual classes. I don't know how to do that, and if I learned it, I don't have the budget for it. They cost a lot. Okay, let's go to family two. So now I'm going to analyze family two's budget. Let's see. I think it's better if we end with family two. So which came first?
Mortgage.
Mortgage, 24%, followed by bills, also at 24%, followed by food at 21%, followed by car at 14%, followed by entertainment at 19%. Oh, sorry, 9%, followed by clothes at 5%, followed by miscellaneous at 3%. Okay, so what's our next step? We have to group them together.
Hmm.
Khadija, do I say your name correctly?
Yes,
Khadija?
you do. Yes, you do.
Right. In Poland, Polish, the letter J is pronounced as a Y. So Khadija would be said
Hadia.
something like Khadia. All right.
Okay.
Where will you cut our numbers here? How will you group them together?
Okay, so the mortgage, bills, and food would
Mm-hmm.
would be that's one.
Okay. What else?
And the 14, 9.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Okay. So this is one way. Stella, do you have another way to do this, or would you like to do the same?
Yes, please. I would like to do the same.
Okay. All right. Because you all right. Anyway, let's see. So what is 24? Anything worth noting? So all of them are what?
It's a little and a quarter.
a
Anything
little,
else?
slightly less than a quarter.
Okay, less than a quarter. How about mortgage and bills? So they are exactly the same, right? So you have to note that later.
Yes.
Okay. How about car and entertainment? How would you classify them?
Um, car will be
More than
Really?
a tenth.
How about 9%?
Under a tenth.
Under a
A
tenth.
little under a tenth.
This is the reason why I if I were to do this, I will cut it between I will group together 9, 5, and 3. And I will say that all of them are less than a tenth. And then 14 would be a one-man team. One, yeah, okay. Or I may group 21 and 14 together. It really depends on you. There are many ways to do this. Okay, but if this is the way you cut it, you may use the hedge word around. Okay, around
Okay.
a tenth. Because around could be a little under or a little
More or
over.
and. Yeah.
Right. So you say around. Okay, next. How about 5 and 3?
Insignificant.
Okay. All right. So they are both insignificant.
Significant.
If later on you will think of something else to add to these words, that's also perfectly fine. Okay, so now we are ready to answer the exercise. Uh, Before we answer, let's identify the main trends. I'm trying to hold on, hold on. Let me copy that and let me send it to okay, there. That's for family one, and then for family two. Let me also send that to the chat box there. Okay, let's take a look at family one and let's compare that with family two. Family two's budget. Where is family two here? Okay, let's try to understand. Let's compare. What can you say about family's budget versus family two's budget? What can you say about their treatment of mortgage?
The highest percentage for both families, or similarly, mortgage leads both families in percentage.
Mm-hmm. So both of them had the highest budget for mortgage. However, for family one, it's just under a third. But for family two, mortgage is just under a quarter, which is also the same exact as for bills. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how about food? Budget for food. Are they similar to each other?
19 and then 21. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Very close.
Very close. Okay, so you can see that later. I would say that the budget of both families, um, budget for food are similar. Okay, we're in. It's just under a fifth for food for family one. And okay, because I don't want to repeat less than a quarter, so maybe I can say around a fifth because
Mm-hmm.
21 and 19 they're both on around a fifth, so I can say that. All right.
Mhm.
How about entertainment?
Entertainment.
So there's a similar arrangement, right? Similar entertainment. What else are similar? Clothes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, clothes. How about car? Who spends more on car?
Family
Family
two.
two.
Family two. Who spends more on entertainment?
Family one.
Family one. Who spends more on bills?
Family two.
Okay,
Two.
so based on which family spends more on what can you say about the priority of family one? Which one do they prioritize?
Mortgage.
Okay, family one prioritizes mortgage most, but for family two, their priority is the same for mortgage and bills.
Bills. Yes.
Okay. And then, of course, food follows. How can we describe food? How do we classify that? Is that a basic need
Hmm.
or is it? Yes, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
How about entertainment? And yeah, for the rest, what's the difference in their priority?
Not necessarily a basic need. So, for entertainment, for instance, family one prioritized entertainment more than family two,
Mm-hmm.
with 16% for just 9% for family.
Okay, so these things you need to be able to understand later. Okay, that's the point of this exercise. But let's go to the sample model essay for this. Okay, so here you are supposed to identify the mistakes and then change them or correct them accordingly. Let's try. Let's try a few. So there are 10 mistakes actually. Let's try the first sentence. Both families, but biggest expenditure each month is the mortgage. Is that correct? Is there anything wrong with that
Yeah.
sentence?
No.
No? Are you sure?
Each month is the
Both families' expenditure each month is mortgage. Are you sure?
no.
No. Okay.
Yes.
It's biggest for
Because
family A, but for
mm,
family B, it's mortgage
Mortgage
and bills.
and bills. Okay. So that's the first mistake. How about the second sentence? Family A spends far more on mortgage than they do on anything else.
that's true.
That's correct. This is exactly half what they spend on entertainment.
Wrong.
No. What's wrong with the sentence?
Because entertainment is 16% and 32%.
16 plus 16 is 32.
Yes.
So
What's wrong
so
with
it's
it?
exactly half.
Okay, then it's correct. Exactly half is spent.
Is that correct?
Yes.
No, it's not correct. 32%, 32% is exactly half of 16%?
No. So, like
No,
I explained, yeah.
32% is exactly half or double,
Uh, for entertainment, it's double.
right?
Mm,
If you multiply entertainment twice,
Yes.
mortgage is double entertainment. Entertainment is exactly half of mortgage. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at the sentences again. Family A spends far more on mortgage than they do on anything else. So 32%. This 32% is exactly half. So that's wrong. So you say this is exactly double what they spend on entertainment. So be careful with accuracy because if you're not accurate, the highest you can get in task one, task achievement is band 6. That's the highest you can get. All right. So this is accuracy we're talking about. Next, their food budget. So we're talking about family A, all right, there. Food budget, 19% here, is significantly higher than entertainment. So we're comparing 19 and 16. Is that significantly higher?
That's 3%. Is
Mm,
really
is that significantly higher?
3%.
Uh-huh.
Significant, but in this scenario, it is significant.
Oh,
I don't
sorry.
think so.
Okay, me too. I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, so be careful with expressions that you use. Your examiner might not agree with you and might penalize you in task achievement because of inaccuracy.
Okay.
Okay, but they say there's really no right or wrong in IELTS. So for you, Stella, it might be insignificant. For Khadija, it might be significant. So the examiner most likely will really not mind about your opinion about the differences. But what's more important is your language. Okay, your grammar is more important in this case. Okay, let's see. Let's go to family B. Okay, so there's a while they spend well under 10% each month on clothes. So remember the expression well under. Let's go to family B. Family B's clothes budget is far less. Why did it begin with clothes? Okay, anyway. Family B's entertainment budget is similar to Family A's at just 9%. In contrast, Family B spends much more on bills each month. Okay, anyway, girls, I want you to study this exercise and try to find out what other errors you can find. Okay, but I'd like for you to focus on the last sentence. In general, Family B spends more on necessary items. Okay, so while Family A allows slightly more money for entertainment and clothes.
Okay.
Actually, that part there is the main trend or the main, should be in the overview. Okay, this part here. Insert. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna resend this back to you later with the notes. But usually, where do you write the overview? You write it in the introduction. Okay, not at the end. I just wanted to point out how do you compare Family A and Family B's budget overall. Okay, any questions about this exercise?
I'm good.
Okay, let's
Same
take
with
a
me.
okay, very good. Let's see. I wanted to go to another lesson. Well, it's not another lesson, but compilation. with model answers. In Google Drive, you will find that here, um, lesson number 6, compilation of writing task 1, lesson number 6.
Mhm.
Are you learning anything so far, Khadija? Anything that would help you write better? Stella has not written the IELTS, so I'm asking you in particular. Okay. Did you learn anything new today, Khadija?
Yes, I've learned a lot of news. At G Maestro, they I think they gave me highlights. It wasn't in detail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that is how I teach. I teach in detail because usually students who come to me, they have taken the IELTS more than twice, more than 3 times. The others more than 5 times. Okay. So the challenge for me as a teacher is how do I help them pass? That is the greatest challenge. And most of the students, they go to different testing, preparation schools, they enroll in different. What's lacking is guidance. What's lacking is the detailed instruction. What's lacking is a feedback in most of the training of my students. And that's what I try to give my students. So after today's lesson, I'm going to ask you to write Khadija and Stella. I hope you will find time to do that so that I can give you feedback. And just to show you how I do it with my other students, let me see. Oops, that is a different group. I have done so much already. And let's see, Chizon. Let me see what I have here. There. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so the feedback is specific. There. Hopefully I will not need to do this with you, like the color coding and all, but for some students I need to do that. For some. Not everyone though. Of course, let me see. Sunday. Oops. Writing task for assessment. Ah, okay, there. This is Sunday's work. So he sent me a task one essay for line graph. Do you see that? Do you see what I did with his work? Okay. So there are specific comments on grammar. All right. And then I would note here, please study folder number 7, grammar for professionals. Okay. And then um, study subject verb agreement in particular. So if I tell you to do that, then you have to study that. And then I will tell you where to go. Here. For this particular paragraph, my main issue is run-on sentences. So if you don't understand sentence structures, then I will tell you that you need to study this. Because if the examiner sees one run-on sentence, the highest grade that's an automatic band 6 in grammar. And most of my students write run-on sentences, if not fragments. That's the worst case scenario. Students write both fragments and run-on sentences. Now, where to go? I have a website, Khadija, just to let you know. Stella knows about this already, but I want to show you.
Okay.
Okay, this is my website. There's nothing much here. But I use this to train my students. So there's a tab on grammar for professionals. And if there are 10 lessons for now, I'm going to add more later. Run-on sentences fall under lesson 4. If you click on that, you will see a lesson. You will be directed to my Google Drive material. So you already have access to this.
Okay.
So you will see there a lesson on fragments and a lesson on run-on sentences and some exercises that you can answer. If your problem, for instance, is sentence structures, okay, you need to write complex sentences. So there, you will, if you click on that, you will be directed to my Google Drive once again. And same thing, lessons are there, exercises are there. So let me share to you the link
Okay.
there. I'm sending the link to the group right now,
Okay.
and I will also send it to your personal chat box. So please study that. Don't wait for me to give you instructions. I want you to study them on your own free time, okay?
Okay.
All right, please. Because I won't have time to discuss all of them with you.
That's fine.
All right, so here's another example of a pie chart. So this file is called Compilation of Writing Task 1 Academic with Model Answers. Stella, have you studied this file before?
No, please, not yet.
No. Okay, I am requiring you to study all of them, please. So each one is represented. Pie chart, process, diagram, two graph, bar chart, line graph, tables, map. Huh, that's a lot. Okay. This is for pie chart. So that's for bar chart. This is for process, line graph, table, two graphs together, map, and we have model answers. Okay, let's take a look at the pie chart. Let's analyze. This is an easy pie chart. So the pie charts show the main reason for migration to and from the UK in 2007. So you're supposed to paraphrase this. Okay, how to paraphrase? We have a lesson on that in Google Drive. And in your paraphrase, you can use words from the picture itself or from the picture. So you see there a title. Main reason for migration to and from the UK in 1 year, that's 2007. So migration to is immigration. Migration from is emigration. Going in UK is immigration. Going out of UK is emigration. You need to understand that. And these are the main reasons. So for formal study, definite job, accompany or join, no reason stated, looking for work, other. Now, when you write, you don't simply say the reason to accompany or the reason to join. Okay, you don't simply repeat. Okay, 6%, no reason stated. 6%, 11% for others. How do you paraphrase that? How do you put together all this information and write a sentence that's easy to understand? Okay, that's the main challenge for you here. Okay, now let's take a look at, so if we analyze the main reasons, sorry. So these are the proportions for going in UK, for immigration, for immigrating to UK. All right. What's the biggest chunk? So the biggest chunk goes to definite job. That's the biggest proportion. That's just under a third. Okay, followed by for uh for formal study. So people come to the UK to study formally. Okay, take note of the words that I say. And then other similar reasons would be for, you always mention others last, okay, in academic writing, because when you say others, therefore they're not that important. So mention 15% and 12% next. So uh, what is 15%? So well under a tenth, okay, or just around a tenth, or just under. How would you classify 12 and 15%? So it's in well under a fifth, okay. Uh, Migrate to the UK to accompany someone, or to look for a definite job, or to look for work. Sorry, to look for work. And then you can also say 12, 15, and 12% respectively, or open and close parentheses, 15 and 12 respectively, and so on. All right, and so you do the same analysis for emigration. Now let's take a look at the model essay. Are both of you still here? All right. Let's take a look at the model essay. So here's the model essay for pie chart. I want to emphasize the parts of the introduction because they are the most important. So for paraphrase, the pie charts illustrate the primary reasons, take note of primary reasons, that people came to and left the UK. So that is immigration and emigration in 2007. Now for the overview, it says here you have to write the main trend. So if they're similar in main trends, then you can probably write one sentence. But if you think that you need to express them in two separate sentences, please do so. So one sentence for the first pie chart, another second sentence for the main trend of the second pie chart. So our example says, at first glance, it is clear that the main factor influencing this decision was employment. Okay, question so far? All right. Let's go to the body. So in the body, we discuss the details. Having a definite job accounted for 30% of immigration to the UK. And this figure was very similar for emigration at 29. All right. So if, as you notice, accounted for 30% is not paraphrased, okay, I would recommend that you paraphrase this part here. So say just under a third, right? Okay. But the good thing is there is a comparison in this part. Was very similar for emigration, and then a supporting detail, 29%. A large number of people, okay, so that's a paraphrase, which 22% is the supporting detail, also emigrated because, so state the reason, they are looking for a job. Though the proportion of people entering the UK for this purpose was noticeably lower at less than a fifth. So there's a comparison followed by detail at less than a fifth. Okay? So if you think that your paragraph is quite long already, you can create another paragraph. Another major factor influencing a move to the UK was for formal study. Okay. So as you notice, different main trends were discussed in the first paragraph, and then for the second paragraph is an altogether another main reason, formal study, with over a quarter of people immigrating for this reason. However, interestingly, only a small minority, 4%, left for this. So what is worth noting? Okay, the 4%. And then lastly, the proportions of those moving to join a family member were quite similar for immigration and emigration. You can stop there, okay, but to write a stronger task one, give supporting details, okay? at 15% and 13% respectively. Okay, and take note of the use of commas here. Although a significant number of people, so there's another paraphrase, significant number, detail 32%, gave other reasons or did not give a reason why they emigrated. This accounted for 17% with regards to immigration. And then as you notice, there is no conclusion. Okay, all of the descriptions are based on the picture. They're simply descriptions, no opinions, no inferences. Yeah, that's it. And if you put all together your paraphrase, overview, and details, you come up with 150 N words or so. Okay, if you write less than 150, you will be penalized under task achievement because the task requires you to write 150 words minimum. Okay, so make sure to count the number of words as well. All right, so that's it for pie charts today. Any questions about pie charts? So the next step is for me to give you homework on pie chart.